You're over 40, you're feeling off, you're asking yourself, what the heck is going on? Are you going into perimenopause? You're starting to hear this a little bit more, but you feel like you're too young. Listen to this. We're going to go through some 10 symptoms, which I find are the early symptoms of perimenopause. Okay, so most women, myself included, before I hit my 40s, I believe that perimenopause or menopause or something happened in, the next decade, maybe 50s, maybe a bit longer, when you've got grey hair and everything else is a bit wrinkly. Before I hit my 40s, that perimenopause and menopause was something happened in your 50s. And while the average age of menopause is around 52, give or take, we can go into perimenopause, and that's hormonal fluctuations of going up and down as early as 8 to 10 years before our menopause, before our periods stop. So for some of us, if this is kind of your average age, or our mothers went through it at 47, 48, we can be looking at our late 30s that we're going to start going through these changes. And something starts to feel off. You start waking up early in the morning. The anxiety comes through, headaches come through. There's a few things that come through, and we start kind of going, something feels off, but I'm not too sure why. So let's go through the 10 signs that I've seen kind of pop up time and time again of the early signs of perimenopause. And this is when your periods are probably still regular. You're probably not having hot flushes. It's these earlier signs that things are changing, these indications, but it feels like it's all in our head and we feel like we're going a little bit crazy. But I assure you, you're not. Let's go through these 10 signs. So the first one I see a lot of, and it's something I experienced myself, is that anxiety and being on edge. One of my clients explained it like as this background anxiety going on all the time, this background hum. This is due to the fact that estrogen fluctuations are going up and down, and it affects estrogen, affects every single cell of our body and even our nervous system. So we kind of get turned on, our resilience gets less. And for some people, the first initial signs is having more anxiety right before they have their period, or kind of in that just after ovulation, kind of around day like 14 to 17, where they just have a day. And I've definitely had this of just intense anxiety and you don't know what's going on. So anxiety is one of the first symptoms. Number two, which I see a lot of, is sleep disturbances. Now, what I see quite often is mostly people are waking up at like 3 a.m. and they just can't go back to sleep. But with some people, it's they get to bed and they're just like, bing, even though they're tired, they're just kind of that wired but tired. So those sleep disturbances, again, the hormonal fluctuations are coming in here, and it's affecting our cortisol, which then affect our sleep-wake cycle. Okay, the next one is something that's not really talked about, but we laugh about it a lot when I get it amongst girlfriends, is the perimenopausal rage. And it's that rage that you start expressing, especially to your kids and your husband, and you don't know what's going on, but you're overly reactive. Again, estrogen affecting the nervous system, and we're just kind of, our resilience has got less. Things that didn't tend to piss us off before, they piss us off really a lot now. And number four, and a lot of people kind of come into me for this, is the weight gain, especially around the tummy. They seem to be saying, they say the same thing. I'm doing the same thing as I did in my 30s. I'm actually exercising more. I'm cutting my calories, but the weight keeps on piling on, especially around my stomach. So again, the hormonal fluctuations, our body stops responding to that calorie deficit as much of like exhausting our bodies. And in fact, that's probably making it worse. And you start piling on that weight. It feels really weird because for a lot of us, it's like when that happens in our 20s and our 30s, we know what to do and we just do it and we get on with it. But now shit stopped working. So if this is you, you're not alone. This happens in your 40s. Number five is that brain, and it's forgetfulness. It's those words go missing. So you could be talking to somebody and you're just like, what? I know what I meant to say, but what's going on here? And it's almost your brain just goes blank. So again, an early sign of perimenopause that you're entering into it with those hormonal fluctuations. We've got receptor cells in our brain for estrogen and progesterone. When they start declining or going up and down and the ratio changes, our brain just gets kind of diswired. I don't even know if that's a word, but our brain kind of goes crazy as well. So that forgetfulness, there is missing words, the brain fog. Yes, that is perimenopause. Oh, number six. So again, I see this actually a little bit less, but it is definitely there kind of more in the mid-perimenopausal phase, is that the bloatingness and the GI upset. So we've got this whole system of our estrogen affecting our microbiome. It's called the estrogen. So it affects all of our digestive system. And what can happen is you start to be a little bit more sensitive to food. So I particularly see gluten, sometimes dairy, alcohol is a major one. You're just way more sensitive to different foods. Histamine is another one, the histamine reactions with the inflammation, especially in our skin. they come through and can be one of the first signs for some people. So if you're starting to have all these kind of food intolerances come out of nowhere, it could just be your hormones going up and down, and perimenopause is something that you've got to be aware of. Number 7 is that fatigue. It's that fatigue that just won't go away. You wake up tired, you go to bed tired, your day is tired, everything is just bleh. And so this fatigue is definitely something that comes through. Again, our metabolism, estrogen and progesterone affecting all of these systems in our body, our mitochondria, and we're basically not using our food effectively and more efficient as we used to do. So we start to get that kind of that feeling that we're just really fatigued all the time. This can also be an indication of iron, so get your iron levels checked because our iron tends to go a bit haywire, and our absorption of iron is changed in the perimenopausal years. So first check your iron, but then it could be about your metabolism as well. Number 8, and this is something that I got, is that those migraines and the headaches, particularly right before your periods, or maybe again during just after ovulation. It was probably about 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, that I would be literally in bed for a day, maybe 2 days if it was really bad right before my periods. This is before I started really honing in and taking care of. That was one of the first signs for me, is those headaches, and I tipped over into migraines. I never really had migraines before, but I would literally be in bed the whole day just cowering from the light and right before my period. So if this is you starting to have a bit more of those migraines and headaches, and if you've had migraines and headaches before, they may become a lot worse. So again, the hormone fluctuations, what's going on in our body, it's something that is an early sign of perimenopause. Number 9 is those stiff joints. You may have that time when you're getting up off the floor and you just unknowingly really like, oh, just because your joints are so just sore and they're stiff. So again, perimenopause is settling in. Our joints can just feel just less lubricated, and that's pretty much what's happening within our bodies. And some people from here, they stop doing stuff because they're like, oh, I'm a bit sore. That's probably not going to help you. If this is you, more activity, whether it's stretching, foam rolling, just getting out and walking would be really helpful. Number 10 is the changes in libido. Now, we don't often talk about this quite often because, I don't know, people don't really want to talk about sex and everything else. However, it really can really affect us in our relationships. So our either low libido, some people get super high libido, and others, it's not really about the libido as such, is that they just don't feel it because they're so tired. Sex is really about the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's kind of going on haywire. So low libido, having trouble having an orgasm come through as well. So this is you. It's the changes in our testosterone levels, because it's not just about estrogen and progesterone. Our testosterone changes as well. Yes, ladies, we have testosterone. It's just in much lower levels than guys. So all these hormones are changing, which then affects libido. There's a lot of changes happening in our libido. Okay, so I obviously didn't say hot flushes. I think hot flushes for me, I see more coming as a later on effect rather than early effect. But catching these early effects of the hormonal fluctuations can be really good. If you're starting to think something's going on, I'm not too sure, start tracking. That's the biggest thing I can say to you, is start tracking your periods. What's going to be really good about this, if you end up going to the doctor and wanting to explore HRT or anything, you've got some data there that you can actually work with the doctor, because working collaboratively with the doctor is really key in perimenopause, because it's not like a one solution for everything. So definitely start tracking. The second thing is have more protein. Most of us, and I haven't had one client come in who is eating probably half what they should be eating in their protein. So start with protein and eat more of that. That's going to help you in so many ways, from your sleep to your metabolism to your joints, everything. So start doing that in terms of your protein intake. To start there, start with tracking, start with upping your protein. Be aware of your protein. I've done another one on calories in and why I think you should track your protein. So I will link that below. But you just start there, and if you want to go that one step further, and if you're kind of overwhelmed with what it actually is healthy, make sure you download my 1-2-3 meal plan. It just gives you kind of little boxes to tick off, and it's made particularly with women going through perimenopause or hormonal fluctuations in mind, to help you tick off to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need. Start there. Just start step by step. And if you're having some of these symptoms, make sure you check in with your doctor and tell them what's going on. Even if it's just a chat, it doesn't mean that you're going to get HRT. It's just chatting, saying, hey, I'm having these symptoms. Because then when you go back in 6 months, when these symptoms may have got a little bit worse, the doctor can go, oh, okay. And they've got the notes in front of them, rather than going, oh, you're just busy. You've got kids. Of course, you're going to be tired. They can actually see that you're getting a lot worse, or something's going on with you. However, if you take control of your diet and you exercise and your sleep and your stress, you can be in so much, you can get through this transition so much easier. Download that meal plan and just start making a few changes for yourself.